Go ahead. I'm ready.
Just, I know we've obviously talked about a lot about what's changed about this team with bringing Colin in for Hunter since the Ohio State game. What's different about them, and especially what's worked for Russell? He's been on kind of a tear since he struggled here on January 10th.
Well, he's in a great rhythm, and they put numerous shooters on the court. They're the same team. They've added Anthony Lee the last game in the starting lineup. Tate is a bigger fixture in their lineup and as a part of their game plan, and that probably started more so in our game. And they're getting very good movement, and their transition is still fantastic when they get out and run off of a defensive stop or turnover. And their half-court offense has got a lot of movement in it, a lot of multiple ball screens, and the ball's in D'Angelo's hands a lot. And he's doing an excellent job of moving the ball and of being in a rhythm off the ball screen or in the spot up. And again, there's so many guys that can make shots. When they win, they've got 4 guys, I think they're over 41% from 3. So, and a couple guys that are hovering around 50. So, to me, that they've got great spacing again, like you see a lot in this league. And the fact that they can go inside, outside, mid-range is big. And the fact that they have so many different guys that can handle the ball in the sense of not only Russell, but certainly Shannon Scott with what he does makes them good. So I think they're playing very, very well. I think the way they turned around and played against Michigan in a short turnaround after our game was really big, because they looked outstanding in that game, and then to go on the road and get a win is big. So they're everything that they were, and they're a product of playing in a tough league like the rest of us are. So there's going to be some good nights, some tough nights, but they're outstanding.
When it comes to your offense, we talk a lot about your shooting and ball movement being so important. As far as being successful with this unconventional lineup, is it easier because you have 5 guys out there that can put the ball on the floor and drive it?
Certainly, absolutely. That's crucial, and it's not just the driving. It's having to be guarded out there, because there's the potential of making the shot if you don't. And the more guys that you have that can not only make the shot, all right, they can drive it to the rim or read the defense and make the next kick, make the next pass. That's so important, and that's got to be the key to our team. And it's not about what defense you see, or it's not about what defense they're playing, and it's not about how they're covering certain people. It is the ball moving at a quick rate. And again, I say this because it sounds so simple, but yet it's very, very hard. Are you moving the ball one dribble early? And we're playing against a great defensive team, obviously, year in and year out when we go to Ohio State, who gets their hands on a lot of balls, deflection-wise, steal-wise, block-wise. So you've got to really, if you over-penetrate against them, or if you try to drive that into traffic, it will be a big problem, because they'll take the ball. So our ball movement to start the game here with them was not good, and then it got much better. And that's exactly what it has to be if you're going to play against them. To have any success, you've got to move it for 40 minutes. Well, the more guys you have that can break it down and make that pass, the more guys that they have to honor to the three-point line. And at the same time, you're a threat to cut. You're a threat to cut behind, cut over the top, screen and pop. Those type of things. That's what makes the versatility that we're hoping to get, that we try to teach to every day, to get them to understand the process of the spacing and the process of the ball movement, and just how many good things can happen when it's going that way.
Shane, how much does Troy benefit from that, just having all that spacing? Because he's a slasher, he gets to the rim. Is that
Troy's been benefiting all year because he just is improving so much. He's got a great open mind about learning. And he's got natural skills, natural talent, natural ability, but he's really taken to the teaching of the details of the game. He's all ears and eyes, and then going out and trying to apply it. He's become a much better finisher in his ball handling. And again, it's still, there's certain places you split a trap, there's certain places you don't. I mean, he's still learning how to handle the ball against different types of defenses. but he's the beneficiary, but we're also the beneficiary of him because he moves so well without the ball right now. And that really started at the end of last year. We were able to really teach him how important it is to use the entire court, how to play off of your man, not just read the ball, but play off of your man. How is he playing you? So he's really gotten better with that, and the next big step is to continue to be just an absolutely consistent rebounder. And I think he can do more things defensively for us. I think we can even gain more versatility from him defensively. So he's improving all the way around, and he's a huge part of everything that we're doing.
I guess you talked a little bit about the ball movement. Is that this team, certainly from last year, but I think at no point in your tenure have you had a team turning over the ball at a lower rate than this team? Obviously, I would imagine that adding guards and adding shooting helps with that from last year, but what's different about even this team compared to, the Sweet 16 teams, the Big Ten title team, in terms of the way they take care of the ball?
Well, it's the same drills. It's the same, hitting them with pads constantly. It's there's definitely penalties for turnovers, even in our 3-on-0, 4-on-0, 5-on-0. It's one of the reasons we bring referees, and we have them referee the drills. Not just the live actions, but even our shooting drills, because it's all about the details of the footwork, getting the ball out in front, the whole detail or the whole deal there. And to me, I think it's a product of guys that are they're better with the ball. They have more awareness as guards, and again, it's learning how not to over penetrate, how not to drive it into a crowd and try to make something happen, and it's not trying to make a play for yourself as much as it is making one for somebody else. And I think, again, you never want to take the initiative of the attack game. Victor Oladipo would have never become Victor in college, and now certainly what he's doing in the pros. And I know he still has some turnovers in the pros, but if you didn't let him go out and attack. So you said you have to live with that some. You have to. It's certainly easier to slow him down than it is to speed him up. Pretty much everything in life is like that. And certainly, a basketball player is the same way. So I think it's constant attention, and our coaches do a great job of teaching it, demanding it, emphasizing it, and holding people accountable for it. And at the same time, you still want them to have that creativity and to not be constantly thinking about making a mistake so that we can be in an attack game. So there's a balance to it, but the players are just better at understanding how valuable that ball is.
There are a number of programs, Notre Dame, Iowa State, that are running a similar system where it's up-tempo, a little bit smaller. I know you'd never say no to a quality big, like a Cody or Noah that came through, but are you looking going forward? Are you comfortable as long as you have the shooters of continuing to play this style?
Oh, we're going to play the style no matter who's. I shouldn't say that. I think Cody would fit in this perfectly. He really could, and maybe not necessarily the three-point shooting at that point, but with the passing, it's all about. It's about making plays for others. It really is. It's about the spacing. It's about the threat of what you can do behind the three-point line as a shooter, as a driver. They guard you there. The hardest thing in offense, no matter what type of offense you run, is when the defense doesn't have to guard somebody, when they can play a man and a half or two men on someone, and we've dealt with that. Certainly we dealt with that last year. We can deal with it tomorrow. You take chances, we take chances, right? But I think what I think I said this the other day, but with OG and Juwan, love their size. There's a real value to versatility. There's a real value to multidimensional players. There's a real value to shooting. And every time you make, if you're going to take a chance, don't take a chance on somebody that can't shoot, right? And so in recruiting, but with forwards and big people, can you play through them? And not just the ball goes to them and it doesn't go anywhere else, all right? Can you play through them? And Cody was a tremendous passer. You could play through Noah on the perimeter. And Noah, when he got the ball in the low post, was going to score. But he got to the point where you could play through him on the perimeter with his driving, and certainly had to guard him to the three-point line. So, no, we've got our eyes on what we think fits us. And we're not getting away from size. We're not going to get away from size. But I think coaching is putting your players in the best situation possible for them to be successful. And do we have a system? Do we have a style? Yeah, I guess. But at the same time, pretty much built on what the talents of the players are, and that's where the adjustments come in. So we'll never say no to the right forward big guy that can do a lot of different things for us. And one of the beauties of recruiting here and what's happened over the last couple of years is people know they're going to come in here and get better. You know, with whatever their skill set is, they know it's going to get better, and it's going to get challenged, and it's going to get expanded upon. And then they have to put the work in to do it. And last night I come back from a recruiting trip. I get back in here late last night because I had a lot more work to do. We've got guys in the gym shooting at 10:30, 10:45, 11 o'clock at night, just in here on their own. You know, that's the beauty of it. That's what you want. And so whoever you're recruiting, are they going to have that kind of value system? You know, that they never get satisfied. You don't have everybody like that, but you've got to try to get to the point where you have almost everybody like that.
Jay-Sean Tate got the start in their last game along the lines of Des Wells. Is that kind of a tough matchup for you, a burly
It is.
guy?
Sure it is, because he's so quick. He's very quick, and he's very attack-oriented. You know, Des Wells is very attack-oriented, but he's also somebody you can absolutely play through. And I know we talked about that a lot the other day, and I thought one of the biggest keys to the second half is that he really only had 1 assist, because he had 3 in the first half, and he could have had more. I mean, he's a hard matchup for you for a lot of reasons because of the ability to score, pass, shoot, drive it, right? Well, Tate is a younger version of that because he can really, really attack the rim. He can run, he can rebound. He looks like he's a confident shooter. He moves very well without the ball. But that first step, that burst is really, really tough. So you've got to be in position right away. You've got to know what his strengths are, and you've got to do your work early on him, and you've got to account for him every time, just like Sam Thompson is a wing on their team when that shot goes up.
Where did the concept of playing on demand like originate? 'Cause that's-
I heard that from Scott Skiles a long time ago. Yeah, I heard that. That's a great line. He used that example of a player named Adrian Griffin, who's now coaching in the NBA, but he had Adrian Griffin with the Bulls, and he said it didn't matter what time you put him in the game. It was the key to his longevity, he thought, of being in the NBA, is that he was ready to play. So I've, in the past, you're too young, but I always gave, or too new here, I shouldn't say too young, but I always gave Scott Skiles credit for that. So he's the one I heard it first from, play on demand. I love it.
Is this team especially adapting to that and taking that in? It seems like
Not every night, not every night. It takes time. It takes a great mental toughness to be on that bench and be ready, because we're not a set rotation system right now. I don't look down and say, okay, they have an idea, you know, the first couple of guys of when they're going in. But I don't coach it like that, because you don't want anybody pacing themselves on the court. And then you don't want anybody disappointed if I say, well, wait a minute, you were supposed to go at the 16-minute mark, but so-and-so just hit 3 threes. Well, now their head drops. No, I'd rather have them always on the alert. And it doesn't always work out that way. And we had a little bit of that last Sunday in Illinois. And we weren't ready when we went back in the second time with a couple of guys. So by no stretch of the imagination is that foolproof. But it is something we talk about a lot. It is something where the coaches are constantly trying to teach and challenge on that bench to make sure that they have that mindset, reminders, and things of that nature. And then it's all about going in and impacting the game and the way the game needs to be impacted. And it's usually not going in, and other than the case of Max the other night taking that first shot, but it's usually not indicative of you just going in and trying to score right away. Okay, it's a key to coming down and understanding the game. But you also don't want them on the bench overthinking either. You want them relaxed and ready and just having a good feel for the game and what's going on in play.
Last question.
You mentioned versatility physically in the court, you know, playing guys that can play different positions. Is that something also maybe mentally you look for? Is it guys can maybe, start, come off the bench, play in different situations? Is that when you're recruiting, do you look for that mental toughness and versatility also?
Yeah, I don't think you recruit, you might recruit a couple guys that you look at and say, well, they're probably going to come off the bench here, but that's not how you win. You don't recruit too many of those guys. You better recruit guys that are capable of starting for you, capable of playing a lot of minutes for you, capable of winning for you. And then when they're there, you teach them how to all come together and how they all benefit if the team wins. And so, but there's a lot of characteristics that you go into, and I think if I've learned anything over a period of time in coaching, it's that trusting your instincts is really the hardest thing to stay true to. And if you do trust your instincts, and you've really spent some time developing those instincts for what it is, for what you see in a player, what you see their capabilities are, and where you see that they can go. Well, then you put that in your head and you say, okay, this is a person that's going to be able to deal with that. But if you recruit too many people that are just going to come off the bench, then you're never good enough to win the games. So we've got numerous guys out there right now that I would feel very, very comfortable saying, okay, you're going tonight. And that's the way that it is. Go ahead.
What, if anything, can Hunter do in practice to make sure he doesn't fall too far behind?
Nothing. Hunter's got to stay, we can shoot free throws. Hunter's got to stay really locked in right now to his rehab and stay extremely focused on that. Keep trying to learn things from different ways and just stay on the uptick with being ready. I don't want him to fall behind in his rehab. And like we're going on this trip, and we don't even get in the gym. And I don't think the Ohio State does either. They rented out the Schottenstein Center to the NHL All-Star Game was there, obviously. So the ice is down yesterday, today. We're not even going to get in there until tomorrow. And so there's no place to even rehab it. So it's like, okay, what's best?
Right.
So, but we want to, certainly we want him to be back sooner rather than later. But it's really a matter of healing and then controlling what we can control and making sure that he's doing all the right things in the weight room and with the rehab and taking care of all of his business academically and all the responsibilities that go into that, keeping him sharp on that.
What does he gain from staying in the locker room, like the last game we watched on TV?
I think he just gains the perspective of seeing it from the film and things of that nature and just seeing the game from that vantage point. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I may do it again.
Is he charting anything, or is he?
Yeah, we did that earlier with the guys when they weren't playing. But it's just a different vantage point. So, and the bottom line is that you continue to really work hard on what you can control, right? So you got to control your rehab and control your strength training and stuff like that. Well, let's see if there's another way to learn something. That's really what it does. So those are the decisions that I make, and I'll continue to make them. So.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.